met an Asian Trump supporter the other day. And I don't really care who you vote for. It's not about that. It's just I was surprised that he was Asian, right? You don't see that a lot. And he got very defensive very quickly. And he goes, oh, I think that's surprising. Well, you think all Asians have to vote for Biden? You think all Asians are the same? You have to vote for Biden? Is that what you're saying? And I go, no, it's not that. It's just I'm from Seattle. All the Asians I've met have been smart. I swear to God, that's not with a bit. I really said that in the moment too. People were watching, bro. Team Pelosi.
Prior to the election, polling showed that only the Vietnamese community was over 50% in favorability for Donald Trump, while the rest of the Asian American community heavily favored Joe Biden. And as you can see, the Asian American community heavily favored Joe Biden. But no one cares about polling. How did we actually vote? It turned out that Asian Americans voted 3-1 in favor of Joe Biden. And I'm super proud of the Asian American community because we showed up and we showed out and we voted and made our voices heard.
Okay, so I want to talk about this guy, Vince Dow. In his bio, it says Christian, conservative, and he's from Florida. So it says a thing or two. This guy fully internalized model minority myth. Listen to him.
I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, not of everyone, but are generally true, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have, people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock.
So I don't think silencing people like him would be the solution, but I definitely think we should watch out for people like him because their internalized racism is further perpetuating racism against our community. And it is no surprise that white supremacists love a good token Asian.
Hey guys, welcome back to That Liminal Period. It's your girl, Chun-Li Shoddy. Earlier today, I shared a video of Nick Cannon defending Candace Owens and also sharing his belief and perspective as to why he thinks the Black community at its core is conservative. In that video, I also mentioned why I think the Asian community at its core is also conservative. And that's why I had the intro today. I want to share another similarity between Asian people and Black. Despite both communities having traditional and conservative core values, both communities are often criticized and ostracized from within the community when you are overtly conservative. And I faced my own fair share. So anyways, I wanted to start off the video with that intro, but jumping straight into the video, I want to let Matt Kim complete his thought process as to why he thinks it is weird that Asian people don't vote conservatively. Let's get into it.
Do you think Asians should support Donald Trump?
I think Asians tend to be more socially conservative.
Mm-hmm.
I think family values are more conservative.
Mm.
They tend to be more fiscally conservative.
Mm.
And the idea that a huge population of Asians are extremely liberal in their voting is weird to me.
Oh, why?
Like, it doesn't make sense. Why do you vote liberal, but everything else about you is conservative?
Do you think it's the ideals of core liberalism of like, leave me alone, let me live my life? Do you think that's the overriding narrative that has Asians who vote liberal, or is it something else?
I think it's because the news is liberal, the Asian news is liberal, and even the churches are becoming very liberal in their political ideology.
You're not wrong.
So their whole world is saying, hey, like the right, they're pretty racist.
I talk about the culture a lot. I talk about society and social media a lot. And a lot of times, whenever I use that as an explanation, people think that that might be a cop-out. And no, it's not, because again, you're a part of your environment, okay? So he is understanding and he is trying to reason. So he is understanding that a lot of the Asian people in the West have been brainwashed by the media. Everything you see on the media for a time period was about Stop Asian Hate. If you guys don't recall, the China virus for a long time was used by the media to drive further racial division between Americans and Asian Americans. And anyways, I feel like at our core, as Matt is stating, we are conservative. conservative. However, we have been influenced by the media.
And they're like, yeah, they hate me. You're right. And you vote for the left. But if they really sat down, like, well, do we like this trans stuff? No. Okay. Do we like the government telling us what to do? No. Do we like being censored? No. Do we like paying more taxes? No. Then you're like, wait a second. Maybe, but no, but they told me that.
Yeah, the talking heads told
but they told me they're racist. So yeah, I'm going to vote this way. It's a weird thing. I think more and more Asians are waking up. I think there's a larger community of people going, yeah, do you know what? Racism, it's not really the biggest problem in our lives.
Truly.
And slowly, one by one by one. But I think it takes time.
So I agree with Matt in that the Asians in America are slowly waking up. However, I feel like it's a shame because the fact that we were so easily manipulated and tricked into agreeing with the Democrats and progressive ideologies, like he said, like we don't agree with the whole transgender agenda. We don't agree with overstepping government. A lot of Asian countries were under colonial rule at one point or another, and so a lot of them were seeking freedom. And I actually think now that I'm saying this out loud, perhaps that's why in the intro clip, let me actually go back to it. Pause. So this frame right here, I'm actually going to look for the AAPI data survey. And if I do find it, I'm going to link it in the description box down below just so that we can all fact check it. However, in this chart, he was talking about how out of all of Asian Americans, Vietnamese people are the most favorable towards Trump. Perhaps maybe because we're one of the countries that was under communist rule, and technically America didn't win the Vietnam War, so Vietnam is technically still considered a communist country. But I wonder if that's the reason why so many Vietnamese are conservative. I think that's, again, very similar reasons as to why Cubans and Venezuelans are predominantly Republicans, because they come from actual communist countries. Everybody else that is progressive and left-leaning in America, they just don't know what communism and socialism looks like. And it's scary. So going back to what Matt says, I really do hope that the Asian community, Asian people are slowly waking up one by one. However, I found a conversation on the Vice network that was not very promising. As I've mentioned in the past, the Asian community and the Asian umbrella is just so large. However, I do think that Vice did a decent job as far as representation goes. They have a conservative, they have liberals, they have progressive, they have undecided, and as well as they have a variety of different Asian countries or Asian nationalities represented. So anyways, without further ado, let's see what this panel has to say.
The main event, because a lot of what's behind the disagreements that we're having today seems to be related to politics. How many of you here would say that you're progressive or liberal? Raise of hands. And how many would say conservative or not progressive and liberal? Undecided? Okay. Are Asians invisible in American politics? Are they visible? Do Asian Americans have political power? Let's take visibility.
Asian people do have political power. However, Asian people tend to be very politically passive. And I think because we've been so passive and unengaged throughout the last several decades, a lot of times politicians don't necessarily make it a point to appeal to the Asian American demographic, as well as I also think that because they're so quiet when it comes to politics, it's been easier to actually influence that younger generation.
Not visible enough, but that is a consequence of the mentality towards politics for a lot of Asians. You don't participate in the system, nobody's gonna care what you have to say, period.
Big facts.
Which is why
Big facts.
I've made it a point to participate in the system. You know, I don't go around saying, well, I'm Asian, that's why I deserve to be here. But just me being in the room is a step above what's kind of the sort of awareness, the political awareness of specifically the Indian community, in my opinion. You know, that's been my experience. So I don't think that they're visible enough. And the reason they're not visible is because they don't participate and do the work behind it.
So that engagement, civic engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that in terms of, I think it's more than that. But I do agree as lack of engagement or, you know, claiming to be apolitical. I think when Kamala became vice president, there wasn't really that much support that I saw from the Asian community. And she's our first Asian American woman.
Again, she's offering a different perspective because she shared it earlier in this Vice clip. It was this entire Vice panel discussion is about 45 minutes long. Again, I will link in the description box down below. Please do go check out the entire segment. But she is half Japanese and half African. So the thing is, she has a different relatability to someone else that is Blasian, Kamala Harris. And that's why when I've brought it up in past conversations, for me, it's a very curious topic. When did society and when did Black community decide that it was going to be okay for Kamala Harris to be Black? Because I'm pretty sure when she was the DA of California, she was considered the first South Asian DA. So I just don't understand. Kamala Harris, just like other women like Brittany Renner, when I was talking about modern women, they started leaning into their Blackness when it became convenient. And I feel like that's why, you know what, different topic for a different day. But again, so I just wanted to quickly say, I think that she's giving Kamala too much benefit of the doubt as far as why the Asian community did not look to Kamala as an Asian representative. Because once again, Kamala Harris no longer identifies as being Asian.
To be elected in such a high position of office. So where is
he knows, and he's Indian
just because
too.
She may not look.
So yeah, sorry, but he's Indian too, and I thought that face was priceless because Kamala is Indian.
Specific way.
So what you're saying is that the broader Asian American community, which might include East Asians and otherwise, didn't speak up enough for having a South Asian person like Kamala Harris of mixed race become vice president of the United States. So divisions within itself.
Yes. I did not see very many East Asians come out and be like, Asian American representation. But I saw plenty of Black people come out and be like, Black representation. So there is definitely a lot of divisiveness within our own communities that we need to understand and recognize. Being Asian is not just being East Asian.
Maybe Asians didn't feel.
So that is true. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. So that is true. I've had videos on colorism. I've talked about being mixed race. I do think that there is an interracial issue amongst all communities, right? However, once again, I think it is when you are just leaning into the identity when it is beneficial to you that eyebrows get raised. You know what I mean? It's like being Candace Owens is not convenient. Being Black and conservative is not.
Represented by Kamala Harris. Maybe people just don't like Kamala Harris. She's one of the least popular vice presidents, I believe, in recent history. I don't know if it's an Asian exclusive thing. I just think a lot of people
Why don't you think they like her?
She comes off as obnoxious and pretentious, and they don't like her politics.
Can I piggyback off that? I think Kamala Harris does not get the love from the Asian community because she picks and chooses when she wants to be whatever her identity is. When she's on TV, on camera, I'm a Black woman, blah, 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 blah. But she only claims her Indian and Asian background when she's in the fundraisers with the rich Indians. Show me a picture of Kamala Nasari, right? When was the last time? I've seen Justin Trudeau wearing Indian clothes before her. You know what I mean? So don't give me the nonsense, right? It's her fault that Asians don't get behind her.
For her trying to win over people, do you think that maybe as a choice to not represent that, to be more relatable to the masses could be the reason why she acts the way that she acts? I don't know.
Are you saying Asians are not relatable to the American public?
Yes, to some, yeah.
Touchy subject because to an extent, there are some people that say that they will not vote for certain demographics. And I know it's a very idiotic thing to say, but we've seen it. Dang it, who is that lady that said it towards Vivek Ramaswamy? She said, I agree with you on just about everything that you say. However, I cannot see myself voting for an Indian man.
I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American Black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
So I do understand the aspect of relatability and just exposure. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why it becomes a touchy conversation, because when is it code switching? When is it just being adaptable? When is it just being relatable? I don't know. I think it's a very interesting challenge that he had, because I mean, Asian population is 7-8% in America. So I would say that is a significant number for a minority group, because just to remind you guys, the Black American population is 12% in America. So they're not too far behind. So again, I think it's just very interesting. And I don't know, I think I need to go to the thesaurus and look up a better word for interesting, because that really is how I find this conversation.
No, to some. Being in a position where you have this generalization of how a standard American is supposed to be, and then all of a sudden, depending on the social climate, there is a lot of pressure on people to be a specific person. And so when you're someone in that light, trying to get support from different people, not even saying that she's right or wrong, I'm just saying that could possibly be a motive.
She did it to herself. If you just called yourself American, you wouldn't be in this mess, right? But you switch the identity based on the need, and that is the problem.
I think Kamala exists.
It's politically
and
expedient.
You kind of saw this when Biden chose her. She exists to basically appeal to like the woke diversity mob. Like, that's the truth. Biden said, I'm going to pick a woman, and then he said, I'm going to pick a woman of color, quote unquote, ended up with Kamala Harris. And I just think that a lot of people outside of Ivy League educations find that stuff off-putting. In general America, a lot of people of all different colors are very off-put by her entire political presentation in existence, because they're off-put by the
women,
diversity,
black people,
liberal nonsense.
They're off-put by a woman in leadership. I want to chime in here.
Apparently, even like women of color and black women, even like
as we talked about,
approval rating in general sucks.
I agree.
Why? Because
let's get off the approval rating for a second. I want to hold on one point of yours,
If he agrees. I'm sorry, but the guy in the green shirt in the bottom left-hand corner, but if he agrees, then why did he bring up the fact that the reason why people are disagreeing and don't like Kamala is because she is a woman and she's black? Vince Dow literally just said there are Asian women that don't like her. Here's one. I do not like Kamala whatsoever. Okay? And it's not because she is a woman of color, and it's not because she is a woman of color. Like that actually fully encompasses it. No, but she sucks. And she literally and figuratively sucked her way to the top. If you guys don't know, I can do a video about it, because I don't understand also why is it that whenever we have these DEI hires, we somehow pick the worst of the worst. Just like I showed you guys Judge Christina Peterson. If you guys haven't seen that video, please do check it out. But it is just a very, again, here I go with that word, interesting observation. But anyways, different topic for a different day. Let's get back into this video.
She's a token. That's what I heard from you.
Sure. I think Biden chose her absolutely as a token.
So I want to know how you respond to sort of what Vince was saying, that Kamala Harris effectively was a token pick because demographic boxes, and specifically an Asian American demographic box.
I feel like anytime a person of color gets chosen, we're looked at as a token, especially in institutions. It's historical, like it's new to us, right? So in one sense, there's some truth to it. Even in our own communities, I think, is she a token? Like, we second guess ourselves. You start to second guess, are you worth it? Because you're constantly being questioned.
Am I qualified?
Did you get here?
But that's why DEI and affirmative action is horrible. That's why it's horrible, because no matter where you're at in this dynamic, whether you're the white person that got passed up because of the DEI hire, or if you're the person of color that was hired on, you never know if that was really the reason. And I feel like that is just doing such a disservice to so many people that do put in the hard work, that spent those sleepless nights studying. I think it's just doing a disservice to everybody. Okay, so again, if you didn't know, I don't like DEI.
Because you were diverse.
Oh, and also to mention, even though I don't like DEI, I have also talked about it in past videos. I myself have been in positions where I truly wondered if I was there because I was a DEI hire. So again, I'm talking about it from experience.
The hire, or, this is the existence that we live in right now. And so Kamala Harris is actually very representative of what we face. You can say token all day long, but you can't take that away.
People will scrutinize her. However, what about the other people, other 47 presidents who've definitely done their fair share? I'd say probably worse things.
Yes, absolutely.
Who are not nitpicked for what they are wearing, or like maybe not fitting in enough because they already fit in.
Or for being white.
Yeah.
Yet another white person.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't agree with her politics, and like I don't want to take like her credentials away.
Yeah.
Because she
credentials?
earned it. She wasn't just a diversity pick. She was picked because she also
put in the work.
She also put in the work.
She put in the work, and she put in the twerk, and she put in the suck. No, she was a Montel William groupie. What are you guys talking about? Oh my gosh, like again, if I can find a clip of Judge Joe Brown talking about Kamala Harris' reputation in New York, I'm gonna go ahead and insert it.
And you got Queenla Imhoff in there. You know who Imhoff is?
No.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name,
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris. She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She married a Jewish husband who's got a interesting.
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
No, she's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she f***ed her way to the top.
Oh, Lord.
They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She's damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't black.
But no, like that's the thing. It's like for some reason I feel like women who are progressive or modern day feminists, they will stand up and give the benefit of the doubt to another woman just simply for the fact that she is a woman. And again, and you guys assume that every single criticism that people have of Kamala Harris is again because she's a woman.
I'd like to hear from the women in the panel about the specifics that we're talking about, because not only is she the first Black and Asian American vice president, she's also the first woman. Choice.
I disagree with Kamala's politics, I'll say it, but at the same time, she's representative of a woman, and I think we should give her some award for that. Like,
Credit?
I like credit, yes, that's the word that I was looking for. This is my point exactly with plain identity politics. Like, who cares if she's Black? Who cares if she's a woman? Like, if she got there on her own merit, that's what's important.
Elaine?
I haven't really thought too much about her being a token so much. I think I'm more interested in, well, what will you do now that you're in office? Will things still change? Or is it
what would that
optics?
look like?
Yeah, and it's great because obviously you do want the optics. You do hope, and you put a lot of that pressure on that person who you feel might represent you. If I wanted to talk really about representation, I'd be like, put somebody poor up there. I don't want anybody rich running the government. Sorry, like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, what's the pulse on your country, on your actual citizens? So that's what I'm interested in.
Let's talk about higher education and affirmative action. So I think a lot of our conversation, the rubber hits the road on this topic. And because plaintiffs challenging affirmative action rules, there are Asian Americans who are banding together to do that.
I think affirmative action is a scam. It's an excuse to make race-based hiring decisions. And I think that that's wrong. And I think that everything should be based on merit.
The students that are picked by affirmative action are top-tier students.
Yeah.
They're not like some D+ students that are getting picked just based on race. They already are performing at a very top level themselves.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the conversation there. If you guys can't already tell, it's pretty much the same thing. Asian Americans that are progressives and liberals think very similarly to the white and Black people that are Democratic and liberals. It's not a race thing. It's a mentality thing. And very similarly, if you're a liberal, it doesn't matter if you're Asian or not, you're gonna have the purple hair. Anyways, I'm just joking that, but it's pretty interesting, the fact that you can just spot out or make at least educated guesses on who is conservative in that panel. But anyways, I just wanted to share this conversation because, again, I think it is just really the times that we're living in. It's just, again, a lot of conversations, it seems to be it seems to feel like it is specific to a certain race, but it's really not. And I'm trying to share that with you guys again, because at the end of the day, all of this identity politics, whether it is conversations on Black men and Black women, Asian men, Asian women, or men and women, what is a woman? All of these conversations, if you guys haven't noticed, are just identity politics. And we just need to, again, remember what the core values are that we have as people and get back to it. That's it. Live and let live. But anyways, I've enjoyed this conversation and I hope you guys did too. And I look forward to speaking on with you guys next time. Bye.